In a video released recently showing Russian perspective combat from Ukraine, we can see Russians recovering and performing tactical combat casualty care, or TCCC, on one of their wounded. Much of the footage we come across related to Russia's watered-down official Ministry of Defense releases rarely showing the gravity of war, but this footage is some of the most raw and clear that we've seen from on-the-ground perspective. If you'd like to watch the full video without this narrative attached to it, click on the card above or the link down in the description. Now, if you'd like a little bit of a breakdown on this, stick around.
Ну, блядь!
During the video, two Russians can be seen presumably discussing the recovery of their wounded, and after laying a bit of smoke, they maneuver to a safe point where they can begin that recovery process. At some point, a rope is tied around the Russian to allow his comrades to pull him back to a safe point for triage.
Блядь, это пиздец. Вылезите оттуда сами.
From there, they move them to what would be a casualty collection point, where they begin that process of triage before theoretically moving him further from the forward operating line.
Давай, оттащи, подожди. Сейчас не течет сильно, оттащи. Есть. Блядь. А нихуя, блядь. Пойдет. Понял, ты можешь. Подняться можешь? А? Чё? Сань, давай. В бочину. Бочину. Быстрее.
Сильно разворотил?
Не. Не, нормально, жить будешь. Не смертельно ранен.
In an image shared online a few months ago, Russians appear to be equipped with overly basic first aid kits, typically including just a pressure dressing, if they're lucky an occlusive dressing of some kind, and what's known as an S-March hemostatic tourniquet. As we see in the video, the Russians apply what appears to be an occlusive dressing to seal a wound in the Russian's lower back, and follow that with a pressure dressing wrapped around his waist. He then gets moved further back from the forward line of troops, or the flot, to be treated behind the line. Let's talk about our sponsor for this episode before we move forward. This episode is sponsored by Optic. I recently began competing in the tactical games, and with that I needed quite a bit of new equipment. I picked up quite a bit from Optic. I love that their inventory is real time because I ordered stuff from other sites only to find out a week later that it's on back order. Their red shipping offerings provide 1-day and 2-day delivery at no additional charge too. The sales staff is local and they're all shooters and outdoorsmen like we are that use the stuff that they sell. Check out the link in the card above and head over and grab what you need, or in the pinned comment and description down below. Putin's invasion of Ukraine comes at an extremely high cost, and while Russians continue to throw wave after wave of under-equipped Russian troops at the Western-backed Ukrainians, they seize very little ground relative to their casualty rate. And most of the momentum from Russia's gains in Donbass to the east have likely been stifled by continuous Ukrainian pressure behind Russian lines with Western equipment. Estimates of Russian casualties range from consolidated Russian reporting of around 17,000 to as high as 80,000 killed and wounded from Pentagon reporting. The challenge in estimating casualties is overly apparent though. Russia has historically misrepresented their casualty rates, and many of the inflicted casualties from Ukraine probably came at the hands of long-range munitions like the GMLRS and HIMARS. The only thing we truly know about Russia's invasion of Ukraine is that it's been brutal. It's been the closest thing to a peer versus peer fight that we've seen, where the weapons of the West meet the weapons of the East. The concern that continues to rear its head is whether or not we'll see the war of attrition that we're getting into lead towards one side attempting to break the stalemate that's forming with something more destructive, more decisive. That's it for this video. Hit the like, sub, bell, and stay informed. I'm getting really, really bad at pronunciation. I used to think I was good at it. S-Mark. Like, why would you say S-March? What an idiot.